This video is actually suggested by one of you guys. Mr. Black 90210, I would say long time viewer. Definitely you're in the comments a lot, which I super appreciate. I appreciate you big time. And let's make a video about your suggestion. He says, can we get a breakdown of your favorite champions you're using in Live Arena? Love to know their stats. You do it sometimes, but usually your in-picture blocks half the stats. And then I responded 11 days ago, yeah dude, absolutely. I'll put it in my planner as soon as and post it as soon as possible. And here that video is. Alright. So, without further ado, let's just dip into it, shall we? My main roster has changed a little bit. I'll actually go through sort of like my account, how old it is, how much I've spent, sort of go a little bit more in depth, and sort of my experience in Live Arena, okay? So I've been playing for like one year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half. I believe when we started playing, Alice just came out, so we got her for free. So that around there I started, and the first fusion I was part of was Fabian, which, I mean, I was just a young boy at level 15 or something. Of course I couldn't afford him. Sad face. That is my account. My account other than that is, I don't know, let's see here. Can we check the, let's see, I haven't spent anything above, let's see if we click here, hold on. Okay, never mind. Basically what I'm saying, oh right, here. Purchase rewards. We haven't spent anything above, like, well, I guess this would be like $47 to $50, $45, you know, when you get this bonus. Haven't purchased anything like that. The one things that I have purchased on this account, we've done a couple daily gems. We have done, I don't use, sometimes it's available for us. It's not available now, but you can like choose like a bundle, like, oh, there was like, I don't know, 7 void shards, you know, something like that, like one of these packs. So yeah, haven't spent a lot, and this is our roster. We're sitting on player power 5.79 million. Here are some, oh my god, look at this. I think I'm gonna change my, I'm not gonna change my face, that's impossible. But I'm probably gonna change around here a couple times. Where am I, where's, maybe up here I'm suited? Maybe, yeah. So, CVC tournament points, max 402k, Demon Lord 204 million, Hydra 26 million, and Chimera 34 million. So yeah, that's my account. So let's get into my roster. I don't know, some people do it like this. We can do it like this, and then we switch just to legendaries. So without further ado, let's dip into it. Man, you know what? I realized my my face is like, it's not suited here either. Should I remove my face? I mean, it's gonna be an issue here as well. Let's do it here. Minimize myself big time. Oh my god. Is that, yeah, now I'm tiny as hell. I should put on like a super tiny voice because I'm so tiny. Okay, no, it's fine. There, cool. Okay, I can't see how I'm in the way now. I hope, hopefully we're not in the way. Okay, so when it comes to my accounts, the champions that I'm running most frequently is, actually, let's do this so we can actually see her. Like that's a better view. Hilvi is our, she is definitely our main. Like, we run her all the time. We got her through the Deck of Fates, and then we pulled shards in order to get her 5-star soul, and then in the shop we got her to 6-star awakening, which is super nice. A lot of people have been raving about Mercurial, so I'm like, hey, I need to test it out. So she has 9-piece Mercurial, which grants her 3 told guard stacks. which blocks all incoming damage and an associated effect. Basically, you're kind of immune to like CC stuff to some degree, which is really nice. And her stats is the following. We have 59,000 health. We have, well, damage 3,000, defense 4,000, speed 303, crit rate, crit damage. Whoa, it's a lot of crit damage. I didn't mean to do this, but yeah. Then we have resilience 197 and accuracy almost 400. Well, 386. We have a Hallowed Hilt on her, fully maxed out with 18 speed, HP and resilience, which is kind of nice. And then we have Intimidating Presence running on her. Thanks to you guys, I've appreciated the blessings for PvP. I've learned a lot from you guys, so just hats off to you. Also, before we just go deeper in, I kind of want to show you here, the live arena and where I am here. In general, we've like checked out everything here. We started live arena as soon as it was available to our account, and I valued it from the get-go. Reason being is you can get Primal Quartz, and you can get Primal Shards, and with Primal Shards you can get Mythicals, and we haven't pulled a single Mythical, so it's not working! We pulled a bunch of blues, and Oscarin, for that matter, actually. We pulled Oscarin from a Primal Shard. And with this account, I hope I'm not bragging too much. I am very proud of this, though. We've, with this account, reached 1,320 rating, and that is obviously with winning, or spending a bunch of gems in order to do more than 10 rounds a day. And then my win ratio is 47%, battles 3,720, and points 10,311. So, let's go back to the champions. Hilvi is definitely my main. Full Mercurial set, and then just bumped her up to 303 in speed. We can bump her further with, like, for example, like glyphs. Let's see, what am I doing? What am I doing? We go upgrade. Oh, well, we have a bunch of glyphs, but the thing is, yeah, I don't want to use them yet because of Ramontu. But yeah, that's healthy for us, okay? Then we have, I don't know what we're running in the background here. Then we have Embrys. Embrys is also a very common pick. I'm a little bit surprised that we've booked him out quite decently. He's fully booked out in the second form. That's his damage, that's his swapping health, and that's his block revive. I do prefer his second form rather than the first form. The first form is a little bit more about control and like stripping buffs, or converting strong ones to weak ones. So if you have heal, like continuous heal, that will be like a heal reduction instead and stuff like that, which is really nice. The AoE destroys max HP is kind of nice as well, but in PvP, as you guys also mentioned, the second form is where it's at. Yeah, and the reason, I actually just want to point this out as well, the reason why the second form, because this has been a little bit of like, why shouldn't I start with this form? The thing is, oh, we're switching it back and forth all the time, aren't we? Ideally, I thought like, hey, when you do this ability, you place a True Fear, and then you get another, you can grant an extra turn. So ideally, I want to go A2 and then switch form, maybe swap health depending on how much health I have, and then go with Atomize to just clap. But the thing is, if we place Fear, well, the Wand of Submission is very common on other champions, so if we place the True Fear on enemies, that might reflect back to us. We cannot transform, and if we do transform, we actually survive damage. If this champion is about to get killed by fatal hit, preempts that hit and instantly places a revive on death buff on them for 1 turn before the damage is taken. So basically, he has a second life if you go into the second form as quick as possible. So yeah, Fear backfiring, you dying, and goodbye Embrys. Yeah, my gear on Embrys is following a 6-piece stone skin. I've recently re-geared him for this purpose of just, you know, the reason why we're going stone skin is because we're realizing that, I mean, we're like, if we go first, that's a bit of a 50-50. Sometimes, like, we're not going to go first at all. And we need to guarantee that we can survive a big hit from a Marius or a Nice, for example. So that's why we're running 6-piece Stone Skin. Then we have a 3-piece Mercurial. I mean, rest HP speed is kind of nice. But I am thinking about, and I'm not sure why we haven't. But shouldn't we just run 9-piece? The reason why we might we haven't maybe is because we haven't gotten like strong enough gear for I don't think we have the gear, these pieces for Stone Skin. Otherwise, I would probably want to run him in like a 9-piece Stone Skin. Stone Skin. We have one banner. That's it. Yeah. So getting those pieces we need to do. Is it Hydra? I believe it's Hydra you need to run a lot more of. But yeah. He's running a wand. He's also running a lightning cage to protect his buffs. And we recently got this blessing due to the Anomalous Titan event. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, most of these champions, masteries, is actually based off of Hell Hades, Cookie Cutter. I am not that into... So I think this is a very important thing to point out. Because it puts a sort of perspective of like how much I know or how little I know and how far I can push with when I account like this. I am pretty sure this is full PvE build. But yeah, I do have a little bit of a experience of how the masteries work and what to go for, but we're still running Cookie Cutter masteries. Feel free to comment on the masteries as well. That was Hilvi, and this is for Empress. So also I want to say this, I do a lot of live arena, but right now, because I don't have a roster big enough where I can have like PvP champions and then PvE champions, I'm sort of going along these lines. I can turn my champions, my PvE champions, into PvP champions as long as they can still handle the PvE quite well, because I don't want the PvE to sort of suffer too much. Like, let's put it this way, I still want to be able to clear Grim Forest hard, I still want to be able to clear Cursed City normal, and even progress into hard without, like, making too many sacrifices. So yeah, as long as I can clear these things, as long as I can do Chimera and Hydra and Demon Lord quite decently, that's fine. And then the rest I can just sort of slightly push into PvP. Then we have certain champions that are just like full PvP, and I don't mind it, which is going to be our next guy. But we haven't gone into the stats, so let's go to the stats of Embers. His stuff, I guess we can go to the alternate form because that's the one where we use him. He has 83k health, he has 1936 attack, defense 2882, his speed, he's not that fast, he's 204 speed, crit rate, crit damage, then he has 138 resilience and 367 accuracy. That is our Empress. And the sort of build I went with is, well, as far as stats goes, I checked out Cruisen. Cruisen is really good for like PvP videos. It's all about Rina, you know what I mean? It's really good. So yeah, it's a little bit of a sort of combination with that. Also, I'm trying to use Hell Hades Gear Optimizer, which is, if you can use it, it's a little bit of a jungle, but if you can use it, it tends to be pretty freaking decent. Alright, Mikage we recently got, but we haven't really... I wouldn't say that she is my main. We can go into her kit, but that is not our prior right now. We have done Hilvi, we have done Empress, the next guy is Leo. So for the longest time, I ran a sort of team where I was like, okay, I want to just bring out dangerous champions. They might not have much synergy, but alone they can carry their own weight and be a threat. So if you would pick in live arena fight, if you pick Hilvi, Empress, Leo, Oscar, and maybe Gaspard or Ezio. All of these guys are like, man, I need to ban this guy. And that's what I went with, because I don't want to run like 4 champions that are kind of meh, and then that one guy that is so clearly going to be banned, because then you're sort of relying on that really good guy, and then obviously he's gonna get banned 8 out of 10 times or something like that, and then you just sort of like you fall flat in live arena most of the time. So that's kind of why. So there's definitely a RNG ban between all my different champions, which is kind of nice, so I can play a little bit different almost every single time, even though I play with the same champions. Leo is full merciless. Well, he's not full merciless. He has 6-piece merciless. He has 1 ring with the Stone Cleaver, and he has 1 piece of Chronophage. I haven't really built him for PvP. I think I've built him for PvE and then sort of kept him PvE. The only thing we've changed is the blessing, which is Lightning Cage. Again, to protect his buffs. Reason why we want to protect his buffs is the Shelia, the Unkillable, and the counterattack can be so important to you, where they're all full. Like all of their players are alive, and then you have Leo left, and then he can still kill the whole team, which has probably happened to, well, a lot of you guys, and me included. So he's really, really nice. His A3 with like turtles together, obviously it's way better with all the turtles. Thing is, in live arena this doesn't really work. If we check the 3 turtle allies, the following is stated. Activates this skill whenever an ally's HP drops below 50% and that ally is still alive. Occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. But basically, if you have a full turtle team and you do damage on any of the turtles and they drop below 50%, he is going to use this ability, which is going to slice through the whole team. Also, the damage inflicted by this skill increases by 5% for each buff on all allies and enemies, and then removes all buffs from all enemies if this attack kills an enemy, and this effect cannot be resisted. So this is insane. It's insane, and that is what sort of claps like the team. But he works solo as well. Even though we don't have this, being able to do huge damage if you put it up, if the enemy team puts up enough buffs, and I have buffs myself, this is just an ideal time to use the A3 to sort of like shred. If you kill one of their enemies, he strips everyone's buffs, which is insane. Then, if you want to sort of like do a 4 versus 1, or 4 versus 1, and you just trigger the A2 and hope for the best. Counters for him is just, you know, any CC. If you get slapped, CC's A1, super annoying. Yeah. Or Marius just shreds through, because his passive places stone skin buff on this champion buff for 1 turn. Each time enemy hits drop their HP below 50%. So yeah, if you just kill, like if you can one-shot him, the stone skin won't trigger. Well, the stats for Leo is 53,000 HP, 2,800 attack, 5,400 defense, 178 speed, not that fast. Crit rate 66, crit damage 242, resilience 221, and accuracy 219. I've tried to revisit his gear, but I mean, like this helm, for example, I'm like, I've stared blind at this. I'm like, oh, man, it's blue. Even though it's blue, it's still really nice. Crit damage, crit rate, defense percentage. All these others is just percentage. This is insane. Like these stats is what he wants. So I mean, yeah. I also think, yeah, damage based on defense as well. Yep. Then one of submission him to sort of counter Armans to some degree, or other people who are trying to CC you. Masteries, again, this is, I'm pretty sure, pretty full PV, especially like looking at War Master, has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. And when attacking, bonus damage is equal to 10% of the target's champion's max HP or 4% of the target's max HP when attacking bosses. Bonus damage can only occur once per skill and does not count as an extra hit. Damage based on enemy max HP. So yeah, he's probably PvE build, but I kind of need him in PvE build, and he can still be dangerous in PvP, which is really nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if you should like run him in Stone Skin in the future. I would only run Stone Skin if I know that I am up against people that outspeed me. Like, if I can take a turn, I can deal damage, but I need to take a turn. If you're in that sort of situation, make sure you go Stone Skin, honestly. It helps me, and it's won me a lot of fights. But yeah, that's Leo. Then, man, dude. Okay, so this guy, let me tell you, he was level 50 for the longest time. And I still picked him. And the reason I picked him is because I knew he was, like, everyone talked about him. Oh my god, Oscar. Oh my god, Oscar. All the whales. Ash, Raid Shadow Legends. Everyone was like, oh my god, I want Oscar. And I got him. And I'm like, I don't know, Oscar, what's the deal about him? The amount of control he has is just insane. I wouldn't say it's Arman's level, but he has things that Arman's don't even provide. Let's go into his skill first, just to sort of get a perspective of how good he is. Also, we recently, geared him up or ranked him up, so now we're actually running. He's fully booked out, which he wasn't like 2 days ago. His A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of increasing cooldown of a random active skill on target by 2 turns. Also fills the turn meters of all allies by 10%. Really nice. Every time he attacks, he increases all your guys' turn meter by 10%. Then we have Magics of Irith. This is insane. Has a 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. This is booked up to... Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze. Oscar, can you please remove my sneeze? Thank you. It's booked up to 100%. And then with a... this must be a... this can't be a 1-turn cooldown, right? No. Have they changed it? They must have. I assume it's 3-turn cooldown. Decrease the turn meter of all enemies whose turn meter is equal to or lower than 50% by 20%. If an enemy's turn meter is more than 50% full, decrease it to 50% instead. So, I mean, like, you know how Deacon, like, pushes your turn meter down a little bit, the enemies? He does this but with a lot more. Then, I assume also has a 100% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose turn meter was reduced to 50%. Alright. Then we have the A3, to death unsurrendered. Teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use their default skills. Before attacking, places a 50% increased attack buff and a 7.5% shatter buff on all allies for 2 turns. Decrease the cooldown of all allies' active skills, except this champion's by 1 turn if the target is killed. Insane. Having the ally attack and bringing shatter, it's a small version of the shatter, but still pretty good. It's just insane. Then his passive, which is just, when it procs, it's just like magic. So passive effect, allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun debuffs. This guy can stun. Then the active effect. Whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates the Magics of Irith skill. Will not put the skill on cooldown if there are multiple champions, But basically, as soon as one of our enemies or allies dies, he goes and ideally strips buffs and stun either one or the entire team. Insane. We have Intimidating Presence for him as well. With only a 1-star, but still, I'm running him with Hilvi with Intimidating Presence, so we can just boost our aura a little bit. But yeah, and he runs 28% speed. I don't run Arbiter that much, and she's actually not gonna be featured here. Yeah. As far as gear goes, we have this is actually a custom one. I've actually used my brain for this. So we have a 4-piece Feral. The reason why is because I want to block debuffs for 2 turns, which is really nice. Then we have a Mercurial 4-piece as well. And this is for the Toll Guard. So in the beginning, he's a little bit protected by the CC, which is super nice, because a lot of people want to either like kill him straight off the bat if they go first, or they want to CC him. But with the set bonuses, it will be, I'm not sure about impossible, but it will be more difficult to actually CC him, which is kind of nice. Also, we realized this a couple days ago, his speed needs to be brought up way higher. I will also explain why I want him a lot higher in speed. Not just for obvious reasons, there is another one which is kind of fun. We'll get into that soon. Health is 67,000. Attack is 2.4 thousand. Defense 2.8 thousand. Speed 230. This is... I want him like plus 300. Crit rate 21%, crit damage 157%, resilience 219, and accuracy 356. And then we are running PvP build on this. This is again copy paste from Hell Hades. If you guys prefer, like, if you have any other suggestions on any other champions with their masteries, please let me know. Also, like, if you do suggest something, could you also like let me know why this instead of that? Because that would sort of, you know, that would help me out a lot. But you don't have to. It would be nice, but you don't have to. Okay. So, and that being said, is like I'm definitely not a pro, but I do decent. I think I do decent. Yeah, the reason why we want him in faster speed, 230, we want him faster than Mikage. Again, we might talk about Mikage a little bit, but she's definitely not on one of our priors right now. Speed, she's 296. So, I want to run an ally attack fun build with both Oscar and then Mikage. So, how this would work. So, first of all, she also has a ally attack, and it's this one. Places a 50% increased attack buff and 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use their default skill. If Oscar goes first, okay, he goes to increase attack. He goes to 7.5% shatter, which I feel like is very, very, very important. The crit is nice, but I feel like the shatter is a lot more important. We can actually go into here. You know what you should be able to do? You should be able to like search here instead of like doing this. There at the bottom, increases champions ignore defense by 7.5% or 15%. For us, it's 7.5%. So ideally, Hilvi goes first, freezes the entire team. Then Oscar goes ally attack, increase attack, shatter, boom, boom, boom. Okay, if that ain't enough, right next to Oscar, we have Mikage doing another ally attack, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I just in my mind, it's just a mace boss. You know what I mean? So yeah, Oscar, a huge MVP, a huge. These champions that I've listed, some of them aren't like super attainable, so I will include a couple others as well. Let me just go through one more kind of unattainable. Not unattainable. He's hard to get. We just got super lucky. Gaspard. He's also in a custom build here. We are running him 6-piece stone skin. Reason for this is to same thing with Empress. Sometimes we don't go first. Most times we don't go first. We need to survive damage, and this helps out with that. Then we have Feral 2-piece, which is 40 accuracy and 5% speed. And the stats for him is 62,000 HP, 2.3k attack, 5,000 defense, 223 speed, crit rate 91%, crit damage 175, resilience 76, and accuracy 197. One of submission on this guy. Now, I've talked a lot about Osgren with Gaspard. Gaspard is a super fun champion. He's so fun to play with. Let's go through his kit. His A1, Links of Death, attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff and a 25% weaken debuff for 1 turn. This books up to a 75%. Then his A2, Wretched Guillotine, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. This goes up to 100%. And then we have places a 60% increased defense buff and a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. Damage based on defense, damage based on defense, and damage based on defense, which will explain why you want him in high defense. Then we have this ability. You stand accused. Attacks one enemy, will ignore life barrier, poison cloud, shield, and block damage buffs, as well as 25% of the target's defense. If the target was killed by this skill, revives a random dead ally with 50% HP and a 50% turn meter. This revive will ignore block revive debuffs. That is insane. So even if you block revive one of my champions, I will still be able to rest them with this ability. Places a block revive debuff on targets killed by this skill. So not only will I counter your block revive, I will put block revive on you. It's just insane. Then he has 2 passives, okay? Whenever this champion kills an enemy or decapitates a Hydra head, fills the turn meters of all allies by 25% and heals them by 25% of their max HP. Then the other passive. Whenever an enemy is revived, instantly activates You Stand the Accused skill against that enemy. If multiple enemies are revived, the initial target of the revive will be the target of You Stand Accused skill. Will not put the You Stand Accused skill on cooldown. So, let's pause there. Every single time you try to rest someone, for example Wukong, if you have Gaspard against Wukong, you know how he revives all the time? Yeah. As soon as he revives again, he gets a cage on his head, and if you die, I get a revive from one of my guys, even though he's block revived. Also, I'm placing block revive on Wukong. Therefore, countering him big time. Also, any guy that has revive, and we have Gaspard on the team, you revive the guy, oh, that's just gonna backfire to you. We're gonna place a block revive on you. We're gonna rest our own. And yeah, it's such a counter to resting in general. Then it has a 50% chance of activating the You Stand Accused skill on an enemy whenever any ally is killed. Occurs once per turn. This is more into Hydra. Instantly activates You Stand Accused skill against a Hydra head whenever an ally is consumed by that head. Will not put the ability on cooldown. And then if there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. And then we have him also in Lightning Cage due to Stone Skin. Yeah, he is so freaking fun. He, I believe, is in a PvE build. Cookie Cutter from Hell Hades. We should probably revisit this a little bit. We should have a look at a guide for this, because I don't know if I mind running more of a PvP for Gaspard. He is, however, a key player in Hydra for us. Oh yeah, that's Gaspard. He is super duper fun. Okay, hold on. Let me just adjust the lighting a little bit. There we go. Got a little bit dark. Now let's go into champions that are a little bit more attainable. I also want to sort of get give you guys some suggestions on like easier champions to also build and obtain. Depending on your like how long you've like played. If you have Ezio, dude. If you have Ezio, play Ezio. Just okay, just do. Before we go into Ezio, let me have a sip of water. Oh my god, it's raining like crazy outside. Holy shit, I just got distracted. Hi. Okay, Ezio. If you have him, you probably have him 5-star ascended like me. He was a free-to-play player or a champion that you can collect if you just play the game. He is in a PvE build, so he's running a little bit of a like just a couple different pieces. He has a 2-set cruel. Attack 15% increase, and then ignores 5% of enemy's defense. We have lethal on him, crit rate 10%, ignores 25% of enemy defense. Then we have chronophage 2-piece, and then we have pinpoint 1-piece. This is just, I guess, more for stats, I guess. So his stats are 50,000, attack 5.1k, defense 2.8k, speed 150. Crit rate 102%, crit damage 178%, resilience 217, and accuracy 312. We need to go into his abilities. Let's put it. I'm just gonna just summarizing Ezio. If you have him, you have lethal dose on him. Even if you don't, you can. This ability can delete a whole team. If you go first and you pop this, there's a chance you kill the whole team. End. 1 round, boom, done, bye. Okay, let's get into the abilities. Eagle Dive, A1. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted if the champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. Books down to 100% chance. Then we have Da Vinci's Design, attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance, which I guess is to 100% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. These debuffs cannot be resisted if the champions are Veil or Perfect Veil. Instantly activates all poison debuffs on enemies under 4 or more debuffs. But if any enemies, are under a stone skin buff, has 75% chance, I guess if that goes to 100% chance, of placing 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 2 turns on them instead. And then again, these debuffs cannot be resisted under if you have a Veil or Perfect Veil. If all enemies are under a stone skin buff, decrease each bomb's debuffs detonation by 1 turn. So in PvE, I did a video about okay, short just segue here. Let me actually pull it up because I want to sort of emphasize how good he is in PvE as well. Let's quickly take a look here. Give me 1 second. Alright, this video, Poison Alt Delete. Basically, with a team of Ezio, Xenomorph, both free to play, Misthrala, getting her free soon, sooner or later. They're all placing poisons, and then Ezio's activation. Let's just put it this way, I think we got him to doing 3 million damage, which is insane on Dragon. So yeah, he's really, really good in PvE as well. Okay, A3. Attacks one enemy. Before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. This effect can be resisted if this champion is under a Veil or Perfect Veil. Will ignore 35% of the target's defense as well as shield and strength buff. This, I say that Ezio is a hard counter to Leo. Reason being is as soon as his stone skin triggers, or even if he uses this ability, Ezio uses A3, steals everything, and then he's very vulnerable to just getting killed, which is really good. So if I see other people playing Leo, I'm like, should I go Ezio? Because then I could just strip the shit out of Leo and then he's gone. Also, big boom damage, you know what I mean? Running him with a lethal dose, thanks to you guys, you've suggested it. It increases damage enemies receive from poison debuffs placed by the champions in arena and siege battles. And then will ignore 35% target's resilience when placing poison debuffs on enemy champions in the arena and siege battles. So, and then with some stars as well, like with 5-star increases damage enemies receive from poison debuffs by 200%. Insane. Masteries PV build because I run him. I rely on him quite a bit on in PvP as well. Let me now close the blinds. What the hell? I'm blinded by the lights. Yeah, so Ezio, insane damage dealer. I mean, like Leo does damage, but I feel I can rely. Well, nah, they're both really good with damage. Let's talk a little bit about a guy I actually don't run in PvP that much. Actually, two. These champions are champions that if other people pick them, I get super annoyed. Before that, let me just double check. Before we go into like that sort of category of just champions, is there anyone I want to mention? We have Rhodos. We haven't like put masteries into him. We went with Aspect of Zeroth thanks to one of you guys mentioning it. So we're gonna try to run him with Aspect of Zeroth and see how he is in PvP. I kind of want Sifi with him. Yeah, we haven't really put that much time and energy into him. We're sort of like put on gear. You see, we haven't even ascended. Probably need to revisit his stats as well. Okay, we can talk about this guy. I don't run him that often. Reason being is because I usually run him for this ability. We could just quickly go into this guy. He puts a magma shield up, okay? But he's not that fast currently. He has a lot of HP, and well, a bit of defense as well. But the thing is, I'm running him for the magma shield. But and the passive is also nice, you know. If enemies attack him, he plays the HP burn. Whenever an enemy attacks this champion, also has a 50% chance of placing a petrification debuff. It all sounds kind of nice, and I guess to some degree it is kind of nice. But because Volcardiac Heart exists, I find him a little bit of a waste of a slot for me. For other players, for you, some of you guys, you might not have a lot of champions. He's definitely a good choice with that magma shield because in some videos or in some sort of like games, he has definitely been helpful with the magma shield. He's definitely saved our ass, but most often than not, the enemy team is way faster. Pelops don't get a turn. He gets locked out or killed, and then that's it. And then we can't even utilize him. That's sort of experience I've gotten with Pelops, unfortunately. Who else? Elva is really decent. I don't run her that like she was my first legendary. She carries a special place in my heart. She's really good with like Perfect Veil with this one plays block debuffs and increased speed buff on all allies, and also like, you know, removing all buffs from all allies, and then we have a revive, and then with the Perfect Veil, and then some continuous heals. It's all really nice, specifically the block debuffs and cleanse. She doesn't see a lot of action, maybe because we haven't built her in too much PvP. She's still a PvE build in my opinion. We are running bolster on her, but that bolster in higher arena doesn't mean much, unfortunately. If you do want protection, it should be stone skin and not bolster, from my experience. Basically, what bolster does for me, instead of my champions dying, they might have 20% HP left or dead, kind of, from my experience. Then we have Donnie that we've played a little bit more with. We've geared him out a little bit different now. We went into this going with a 6-piece chronophage, which I don't know if I'm completely sold on. I rather go like stone skin on this guy, perhaps, or maybe a 9-piece mercurial. I'm not sure. But we can go into him a little bit. The reason why I love Donnie, well, the heal, the cleanse, the speed buff, which is really nice, the increased speed as well. But he's a hard counter to Fabian to some degree. So sometimes enemies pick really annoying champions, and Fabian might be on the top of your ban list, but then all of a sudden, oh shit, he also picks Nice, or oh shit, he also picks Solanar, for example. Then you're like, oh, wait a second, okay, well, let's ban Solanar, and then we pick Donnie to counter Fabian. The reason he counters, besides the cleanse, besides the speed buff, it's this ability, Shell Shocker. Attacks all enemy, decrease the cooldowns of all ally skills, except this champion's by 2 turns. This skill's cooldown cannot be decreased or reset. So, you know, he increases our cooldowns, and then we sort of neutralizes that with this ability, which is really, really nice. We're running a Helmet Hilt on him, and then, you know, right now, 3-piece Mercurial for the stats, 6-piece Chronophage to get 2 immutable stacks, which basically, yeah, each immutable stack blocks an attempt to increase skill cooldowns on a champion. Yep, and he's well, it's not too fast, he's 265 speed. High speed for me is like about 300 plus is high speed for me. But yeah, that's a honorable mention for Donnie. And then the last one is Mythrolla. Mythrolla for me, we need to read her kit because she is the resist queen. A1 attacks 2 enemies at a random. Each hit has an 80% chance of placing a 5% debuff, a poison debuff for 2 turns, which is, yeah, I mean, that's kind of nice. But the Sigil of Toxic Glory, which is really nice, attacks all enemies, places a Hex debuff for 2 turns, also places 68% increased defense and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies. And then we have a Cleanse, removes all buffs from all allies, then places a 25% strengthen, and a shield buff equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. But then we have her passive. I've forgot her passive a little bit and what she does, but there's something about resist with this chick, that's 100%. Whenever this champion is attacked by an enemy under a Hex debuff, has a 50% chance of applying a Petrification debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Whenever an ally is attacked by an enemy under a Hex debuff, has a 30% chance of applying a Petrification debuff on the attacker. Super annoying, really nice in the arena to place Petrification. That also increases this champion's resilience. The amount by which it is increased is equal to the amount of accuracy this champion has. And she has 357 accuracy. Which, I mean, every time I've been up against Mythrolla, she resists literally everything. Everything. I run her in PvE, but also in PvP sometimes. And we also run her in a 5-piece Feral. Specifically, this places a block debuff on the wearer. This helps me so much both in PvP and PvE, because every time, you know, they try to seize in arena, they can't with Mythrolla, and then Mythrolla goes and she can cleanse off the rest, which is super nice. Then we have a 2-piece Perception and a 2-set Chronophage. Yeah, that's just an honorable mention. Now, let's get into the ones I freaking hate. Wait a second. Let's talk about her. Because we pulled her recently. Yeah, we've been using Mythrolla a little bit. Mikage. And she's really nice. She is a lot of control on the board. If you want to control, she's your gal. We run her in a 4-piece Mercurial to get a total guard stack, and then we run her in 5-piece protection. Ideally, we want to run her in 9-piece protection, but we don't have the accessories for it. Her stats is 74k HP, 2.2k attack, 4k defense, 296 speed, 21% crit rate, 66% crit damage, 169 resilience, and 204 accuracy. One of submission on her. We have temporal chains on her. Decrease each enemy's speed for each active buff they are under, except for the buffs placed at the start of the round. Whoops. High awakening bonus whenever an enemy receives a third active buff, instantly decrease the turn meter of all enemies by a certain amount. Basically, why I like her is she can attack all enemies, decrease the duration of all enemies and all allied debuffs by 1 turn, then increase duration of all enemy debuffs and allied buffs by 1 turn. Really nice. Then we have the ally attack, super nice. Then we have her second form, where we can stun everyone and decrease turn meter. And then we can place increased accuracy on everyone and remove buffs from all enemies. And then her A1 places sleep. So a lot of control. We don't use her that much yet. Maybe a little bit more later on. I thought we wouldn't use her a lot more, but because we have Oscar and Hilvi, I feel like we have a lot of control there. Mikage is also nice control, but I feel like I'm so safe with control with these guys that Mikage is not just good, but like, yes, ally attack, Oscar has ally attack. Remove buffs he has as well. He can stun the entire team, she can stun the entire team, she can freeze the whole team, and she can revive. So it's like, and running 3 supports, you damn well better run 2 really big damage dealers. And I sometimes, depending on the picks, I don't feel like I can afford placing 3 supports. Yeah. All right, let's now mention some do some honorable mentions of the ones I hate to be up against, and I'm only gonna pick champions that I have myself. So yeah. All right. First off, Alice. I'm gonna quickly go into why. Her A1 has a chance of removing buffs, but it's this. Her A2 has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemies' skill by 2 turns. I freaking hate this. This is off. I mean, not completely Fabian all over, but this ability, like, if you can't do your abilities within 2 turns, that freaking sucks. And that is why I like sometimes ban Alice. Also, some people can build her like crazy, and she can literally clap a whole team. She can do insane amount of damage. Next up, Xenomorph. Reason being is because of this ability. It places a true fear debuff on all other enemies. So, yeah, that's kind of why I don't like Xenomorph. Also, if this gets like triggered, this infest damage is insane. Who else do we hate going up against? Well, we have Mashal, and I hate being up against him because of this. Not the first part, but the second part. Place a true fear and leech debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, then grants an extra turn. And then he can steal buffs with this. And also heal reduction. He can be super annoying. We might run him a little bit here and there. We haven't really run him that often. But yeah, it's someone that I definitely hate. Who else do we hate? We hate a lot of champions that we don't have, but yeah. Prince Kaimar, we kind of hate as well. It's also interesting that I pick champions that I hate, but I don't, you know, use myself. The reason why I pick Skymar, the A1 is kind of meh, it's kind of whatever. But these abilities. It resets the cooldowns of all ally skills. First, fills the turn meter of all allies except this champion by 20%. Will not reset or reduce the cooldown of this champion. But resetting skills, insane. Increasing turn meter, also nice. Then we have this. Attacks all enemies, remove all buffs, places a sleep debuff for 1 turn. Dude, you know when you're about to go? Like full turn meter, okay, next turn is mine. And then he places this. Super annoying. Super annoying. Dude, April O'Neil, nah. She can be a little bit annoying, but she ain't all that, honestly. So I'm not even gonna mention her. Well, let's talk about 2 champions that we recently pulled. By the way, another free-to-play champion that can be super annoying and do a lot of damage, because we've been up against him myself. This ability doesn't just CC, but it can hit really freaking hard. I've been previously being one-shotted by this ability. So if you need a control champion with damage, yeah, Carl is your guy. Also Void, super nice. Uko, I hate going up against. He can steal a bunch of buffs. He can revive and stuff, and that is why I hate him, and that's also why I am intrigued of playing him myself. But yeah, and then Mavora, we haven't been up against too much. I hear in the comments that you guys love Mavora. I am super excited to play her as well. I mean, the fervor thing here, super nice with the ally attack. Then have a strengthen and an increased resilience buff, also equalizes the HP of all level allies, so this is a huge heal. Then we have revives an ally with 50% HP and turn meter, places a perfect veil and a killable. And then we have this passive, which is for every 8 buffs the enemy receives, increase the turn meter of all allies by 20%. For every 16 buffs of this champion's buffs this champion and their allies receive, heals all allies for 20% of their max HP. Very interesting champion. So looking forward a lot to playing with her. Also super nice with the 28% speed in arena. I think that kind of covers it, honestly. Those are my sort of top picks in the arena and my sort of top annoying picks, the enemy picks. Yeah, I would love to know your guys' like top 3 picks in the comments below to sort of get a chat going, and like we can learn from each other. Like, oh, try this guy, or I really love this guy. It could really be super nice. Also, I do want to make a special announcement of the Quintus guy. We are wanting like 1 more nuker to our team. This guy is the guy that you get when you've done your live arena up to a certain point. You collect this guy. He's Void, which is really nice. And let's actually go through his kit. A1 attacks 1 enemy. Place an extra hit if the target has no buffs. If the target, if this attack is critical, repeats the attack once. Then we have this, A2. Attacks 1 enemy. Removes all buffs, then places a 60% decreased defense buff on the target for 2 turns before attacking. These effects cannot be resisted or blocked. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries, except by the passive skills of bosses. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either the champion's masteries or ally passive skills, except when attacking bosses. Resists the cooldown of the crowd favorite skill if this attack kills an enemy. And this is the ability that famously kills the entire team. Crowd favorite. Pretty good ability name. Attacks all enemies. Places a 50% increase attack buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 3 turns before attacking. Resets the cooldown of the strip away skill if this attack kills an enemy. So nice synergy between these. Then the passive, each of this champion's skills deals additional pure damage. The amount of pure damage dealt is equal to 10% of the target's max HP for each buff on them. The additional pure damage dealt will ignore shield buffs. Insane. he can deal an insane amount of damage, and he has one clap my entire team several times. So I'm thinking he is gonna be my next go-to guy for the arena. He's gonna be my second nuker. And you can see, look at this, the XP bar just slowly ticking up. He's in the pit right now training. Yeah, man. Yeah, guys, that has been everything for me. You know what? Also, I can just mention my top 3. My top 3 is Hilvi, Osgren, and Empress. Those are my top 3 champions right now. Yeah. Guys, let me know what you think about the video. If you liked this sort of video, make sure you guys like and subscribe and all that stuff. And thank you for the suggestion. If you guys have any other suggestion videos, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to make them. And yeah, let me know your top 3 champions. Just anything live arena wise to help you guys out and also help other people out in the comments below. Yeah. Also, I've kind of said this already, but I kind of say this every video, so I kind of feel like I have to say this. I put out videos every 1 to 2 to 3 days. If you like this sort of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And on that, I'll see you guys next time.